The positive talks between Ruud Van Nistelrooy and Manchester United are advanced as the former Man United striker is excited by the idea of rejoining his beloved club as one of the backroom staff members of Erik ten Hag. Meanwhile, Van Nistelrooy himself has given a proper endorsement of Jarrad Branthwaite as Manchester United is contemplating going back with bid number 2 to Everton. Like, share, and subscribe. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Welcome aboard. My name is Webb. Let's get into it now. The talks between Erik ten Hag for a new contract are ongoing and progressing well. We're hoping that soon they will be done. It seems the few clauses that they were trying to work on together are moving and progressing well. But the more important talks that perhaps you want to hear about are those for Ruud Van Nistelrooy returning to Man United, this time as an assistant. And indeed, it is reported that Van Nistelrooy is happy about, first of all, the idea. He's moved by the idea of coming back to Man United in that capacity. So it is probable that they will go well, and he might be joining the backroom staff of Erik ten Hag. Now, Van Nistelrooy, a couple of months ago, gave an interview, speaking about his tactics and his style. And in that interview, he seemed fond of Jarrad Branthwaite as a player because he worked with him in between 2020 to 2023 when he was on loan to PSV, and Van Nistelrooy was the boss. They worked together. And among the players he has managed, in fact, he believes that Jarrad Branthwaite is one of the best centre backs he had. And he was waxing lyric about him, saying that one of the things that make him a good player is the fact that, first of all, we know that he's left-footed, so on the left-hand side of defense, he brings a good balance. But he went on to say that because of certain qualities he has got, the likes of his speed and pace, he makes it easy for the team to play high line. And Dutch managers love to play high line and press. When you're pressing, you've got to play high line. Your centre backs have got to move, a distance away from their goal to try and press and push the opposition and confine them in their half. So he says because of his speed, it allows them, and certain other qualities, it allows them to play a high line confidently, and he's daring. These are some of the things that Van Nistelrooy spoke about Jarrad Branthwaite. Of course, we know his height is 6'5", and you think that probably brings a different dimension that we lack because of Lisandro Martinez. And don't get it twisted. The height of or lack of it of Lisandro Martinez does not really impede his abilities when it comes to winning aerial duels. I think he has got everything else to suffice for the lack of height. But that doesn't mean if you get a tall, a 6'5" centre back, it's not an advantage. It is an advantage. So I think Man United is insisting on Jarrad Branthwaite as the backup for Lisandro Martinez because he's a whole different. He gives you a whole different dimension, and of course, he's way younger. He's more for the future. He's 22, I think, 21, and Lisandro Martinez, I think, going 28. So I think the dimension is there, but Van Nistelrooy seems to give an endorsement about Branthwaite, and perhaps that can be again more confidence for Man United to go with back to Everton. Branthwaite himself is excited by the idea of joining Manchester United. Remember that personal terms between him and the club were agreed, and why wouldn't he be excited if he could be earning more than perhaps 4 times what he's been earning at Everton? We're talking about 150 to 160,000 pounds per week. Crazy amounts, aren't they? But that shows you how important Ineos view him for the project. Now, there is also, of course, a story we need to follow on Mason Greenwood, and people have been asking me about him and why can't we have him back and stuff. I think because the Glazers had agreed. I think they spoke with the player during the when they were coming up with the decision to loan him to Getafe. I think they spoke with him and agreed that he would not return to Manchester United. And I think it wouldn't be smart for Ineos to come and veto that. Probably that is why right now it's dragging a bit. But also what's dragging the Greenwood talks in terms of moving on to a new club. Several clubs want him, but the intricacies around which Man United want to let go of him are quite hard. They're not obvious because United are saying they value him at just over 40 million pounds, which is about 42, close to 42 million pounds. But United want clauses in his contract with whatever club he joins, if he goes on a permanent, that will allow Manchester United to earn significantly off him in terms of any future moves he makes. Now, certain clubs are feeling that if we are paying 42 million pounds for him, there will be no other clauses of you earning from any future sale of the player. But United feel like, I mean, and for me, then that would make sense why Man United view him at 42 million pounds, because 40 or 42, because perhaps that is an easier amount for a club to spend in the summer. But they know that is worth a lot more than that. So instead of trying to get all that at once, then why not put a clause where we can earn the excess from other moves that you could make, which are likely going to happen anyway, because you don't think Greenwood is going to join at 22, join a team like, let's say, Lazio, and he will stay there until he's 35 or thereabout. Perhaps in 2-3 seasons, and Real Madrid, another big club, Barcelona, would want to sign him. So that's what United is saying. So this is what is seemingly dragging the whole deal, the whole process of him getting a club, a new home to settle. And those are the intricacies that have got to be worked on by Ineos. I think for me, hearing that gives me at least a bit of a better confidence, more confidence in what Ineos are doing, saying, you know what, at least they are trying to negotiate something reasonable for the player. Because just saying that, if we say, because think about it now, if we say that Greenwood is an 80 million pounds player, whereas we know that's his worth, which club would come out right now and spend 80 million quid on him directly? But we can earn 80 million by first getting the 40 million and then get an extra 10 or 15 in add-ons, because we know he's going to perform anyway for whichever club he joins. And then the extra 30 or 40 million we would want to get off him can come later. We can wait and get it later when this club, when he's sold to other clubs. So I think for me, it's a smart way to structure the move and get the best out of a player who we reverse so much. So that's the situation, and that's why this Greenwood talk is always shifting from Lazio, then Juventus, then Napoli comes in the picture, then Valencia. It's just about finding the club that would accept the structure that Man United is trying to work around his move, because the idea, at least the fundamental for me, is that United are not willing to lose him for cheap. For me, that was my biggest concern, that yes, we might be forced by whichever situation to lose Mason Greenwood, but it should be for the right amount. And indeed, Ineos are structuring that, and that's why his transfer away from Manchester United is not as obvious that most of us, thought. And by the way, the talks for Greenwood moving to a new club are more advanced than any talks we're trying to have for Sancho. Yet it was already decided that Sancho will be leaving, but his is different, because there are not so many clubs excited by the prospect of signing him. United value him at about 40 million, 50 million. Dortmund, who would have wanted to keep him, don't feel like they've got that money. So Sancho is there. We might be stuck with him a bit. The other issue with him and Greenwood also are the wages, because I mean he's currently earning £75,000 per week. That's Greenwood. And most of these clubs, Lazio and the likes, may not exactly be comfortable to pay 40 million and so forth, and still meet a wage, even perhaps even more than that. You could want more now, maybe £100,000 per week. That's not money that clubs outside the Premier League are exactly comfortable with, unless you're Juventus and maybe Napoli can. But still, the sustainability rules also make it difficult. The financial fair play and sustainability rules make it difficult for these clubs. So that's the intricacy. But for me, the beauty in all this is that at the tail end of it, there is that window that Ineos have kept open, that if we don't get the right deal for Mason Greenwood, we are open to bring him back, extending, triggering his 1 year extension, and trying to find ways of reintegrating him back into the squad, which for me would be a victory for Manchester United. My name is Webb. This is the NFL Sport. Quick morning update. Catch you later.